Hello, I'm Stuart Bloor. It's a scorching hot day and I've arrived at the lake for an overnighter. First thing I've done, I've got my landing net up, I've got my pod out and I've got my rods baited up, and I'll show you those in a moment before I cast out. On one I'm fishing two 12mm pop-up boilies, and on the other one I'm fishing two corn-shaped popper boilies. If you follow my angling exploits on a regular basis, you'll know particularly all about the corn-shaped poppers because they are favourite baits of mine. I use them for a variety of fish, tench, carp, bream, and so they're always there in my bag whenever I'm on this sort of a fishing trip. I'm hopeful tonight. I know this lake hasn't been fishing too well of late. In fact, I have struggled myself, and the last time I was on here I even blanked, which, considering the first time I came on I had a net full of fish, I thought I've got me a good place here. Well, not really, because I know what fishing's like, and I'm sure if you're a regular angler yourself you can share those sentiments as well. You can go on one day and you can literally bag up and have a fish every cast, and then you go back the next day, maybe conditions are the same, all the boxes are ticked, and you struggle. That's fishing for you, isn't it? But the one thing is, and this is a firm belief of mine, you never catch sitting at home, and so I'm going to spend an overnighter on this lake and, as I say, hopefully catch a fish. And here's the first rod that's going out, as you can see there, blowing in the wind. A couple of boilies, and they've been dipped as well. No doubt you can see the there they are. See the little bit of liquid on them. They've been dipped. Put them in a PVA bag with some pellets and some boilies, cast out, and then put some other boilies around that area. And now to cast out the second rod, and the sun's gone in, so shades are on my head, and it's in a PVA bag, and you can probably just about see the corn pieces there. The rods are out, baited up, the waiting game begins. This probably isn't every angler's cup of tea. That's a term we use in England, so I'm aware that folks from around the world do watch these videos. It's not to everyone's liking, this sort of fishing, is it? Spending hour after hour without even a bite, without even an indication of any fish in the swim. But then of course you get that run and you never know what's on the end. But of course the great thing about fishing is it can be to each and every one of us what we want it to be. And I don't understand those folks who criticise other anglers purely and simply for the sake of it. If you don't like this sort of fishing, you don't do it. You do something else. If you want to catch a fish every cast and just have a net full of small roach or whatever at the end of the day, that's fine. That's the great thing about fishing. We can do whatever we want to do. As far as I'm concerned, as long as we're not breaking any rules, we're not compromising fish welfare, and we're not disturbing other anglers, then we're free to do whatever we want to do in angling. So, as I say, don't understand those folks who criticise for the sake of it. And if you go on the internet and forums and all those sort of places, they're full of people who are literally full of rage and anger sometimes about the way that other folks do. As far as I'm concerned, do what you want to do and enjoy it, and let others do the same as well. Live and let live. That's my motto in fishing. Playing a fish. I have no idea what the time is. All I know is it's dark and I've dozed off. I was awoken by that lovely sound of a single scream on the bite alarm. It's what all anglers want to hear, isn't it? It's coming in now, and I shall be ready to net it. Obviously you're not going to see any of that on the camera, but I'll show you the fish when it's on the bank. Assuming I get it there, of course. I don't have the dreaded hook pull. I've now got the fish on the mat. I'm ready to lift it up, and here it is. like a royal baby about to make its appearance to the world. There it is. I'm sure you can see that there. Look at that for a mouth. Louvre up anything, want it that. There it is. I'm just coming back. Decent enough fish. Not a monster, but look at those scales on that. Beautiful, aren't they? Right, let's get a photograph. Put it back in the water, in the net. I'll get a photograph and then it'll go back. And when I was on about the dreaded hook pull, I'll tell you something, I wasn't far wrong, because the hook came out in the net, so that was very, very close. I was very happy with that fish because the lake has not been fishing well of late. I had a chat with the bailiff yesterday when I arrived, and he confirmed that, which I already knew anyway, that the place has been playing hard to get. Well, certainly the fish have anyway, and I'm not surprised that I'm the only angler on here tonight. But as long as our bait's in the water, we've got a chance, haven't we? And when that alarm goes off and you get up to strike the fish, those few seconds from the alarm going to the strike, you never know what sort of fish you're playing. As it was in this case, it was just a small mirror, but it could have been a 20 pounder or a 30 pounder even. And that's the thing about this sort of fishing, isn't it? You just never know. But if your bait's in the water, you've got a chance. As you can see, I'm playing my second fish of the session, and this one has now come at first light. I caught the other fish on the corn-shaped boilie. This one's on the pop-up. It's an M2 bait. I'm fishing 2 12mm. It's not a big fish I'm playing. But they're all very welcome. Particularly, as I said earlier, the lake isn't fishing too well at the moment. Even smaller than the first one. But you can't determine what size of fish picks your bait up, can you? The most important thing you can say is that what you've got out there, you rig, your bait and so on, it's working. Right, let's get this one back and let's see if I can catch a third fish. That would be great, wouldn't it? But I'm happy at the moment anyway. I'll let the fish rest in the margins in the landing net for a short time. Just make sure it was okay to go back. I think that's important, particularly in the summer when we've had a very hot spell like we have recently, and there's not so much oxygen in the water. The fish do put up a good fight. They give their all, don't they? And it's only fair and right and proper that we treat them with respect and only release them when we know that it's a safe thing to do, particularly if you're barbel fishing. I know I'm not barbel fishing on this particular video, but that is a particular example that's important to mention, certainly for carp as well. But that one was okay in the landing net just for a short time, and it powered off into the deeps. On the subject of what other people catch and our venues of fishing and all that sort of thing, I think that's good to know. Not that we're in competition with other anglers. I think that's important to bear that in mind. It's not a competition. It's not a race to see who can catch the most or the best. It's just us as individuals fishing for ourselves. But it's good to know what others catch, because, as an example, on this particular lake quite recently, I did 2 nights and I caught 1 fish right at the end of the second night. Well, on the morning actually, after the night, as I was ready to pack away. And that might not seem like a good return, but I'm speaking from memory now. Got flies here. I'm speaking from memory now. There were 5 other anglers on the venue. The first night I don't know, no one else fished, but the second night 5 other anglers on the venue, and only 1 carp was caught between them. So when you bring that into the equation and say that out of 6 of us, I think it was 6 or 5, I can't remember honestly, but there was a small number of anglers, but only 2 carp were caught, and I caught one of them. So that actually brings it into perspective, doesn't it? So we're not in competition with other fishermen, but it's sometimes good to know what others are catching, purely and simply just to gauge our own angling and see where we're at, and what we might think was a terrible session actually might be quite decent after all. And so, as this lake is not fishing too well at the moment, 2 fish so far, I'm actually quite pleased with that. Fish number 3 on. This one was a real screamer, and it's putting up a bit of resistance as well. So let's hope it's a better fish. And here's the 3rd fish. My comments about being a better fish were made on the strike, but I soon realised it had been caught in some weed, so that's what made it feel heavier and a little bit more resistance. So I'm a very happy camper, and this one goes back, and if I catch anything else that'll be a real bonus, because I'm getting ready to break down now. The sun's up in the sky, it's time to go home, do some work and carry on with the rest of the day. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've certainly enjoyed making it. Catching those fish has been really encouraging. To find out how I get on in the other sessions that I've got planned, and indeed how the rest of this one goes, because I've still got a little bit of time. While those rods are out, I'll be breaking everything else down. Always leave the rods and the landing net till the end. You never know, dear, get that fish right at the death. So to find out how I get on, then you can read the article that you'll find in the description box here on YouTube. And of course you can find links to my website, anglingdiary.com. Check it out. There's a load of stuff on there going back over 10 years now, every Saturday updated with a fresh entry. And I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and of course YouTube as well. Subscribe to my videos here, so check out all the links and connect with me on there. If you're out and about yourself, tight lines, and I'll see you soon.